Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to the very first episode of Controller Chronicles. I'm, of course, your host for today's episode, RJ, and we are joined by Meta and Blinded. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Everyone?
What's up?
How's it going?
I know, going good. Very exciting. Obviously, this is the first episode of our new endeavor. If you missed it, go check out the announcement video we posted a while back. But today's the first episode, guys. I mean, hey, we're kicking off with the bang, right? Got to kick off strong and all that. So, kind of just going to be the flow of the show today. Going to be talking about, of course, the segment we like to call our own, our segment about what we're currently playing, chronicling our game venture. And then we'll be diving into the main topic of today's episode, which will be our thoughts on the current state of gaming. And that'll be focused on the big three, Sony, Nintendo, and of course, Microsoft Xbox. So, gentlemen, to start us off for today, we're going to be talking about what we're currently playing. I will go first. Currently, I am playing Persona 4 Golden on PlayStation 5. I'm also currently playing a little bit of TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and I am, of course, still trying to play a little bit of Fortnite as much as I can. Although the season is not great. I'm not enjoying this season of Fortnite, I'm sad to say.
Oh, man.
But I'll get into that maybe a little bit later. Meta, go ahead, and you're up next, sir. What are you currently playing?
Well, I wanted to ask, first off, first question real quick, are you playing TMNT because of the DLC?
No, the DLC is not out yet. I was just because they added it to because I'm a PlayStation Plus member. They added it to that. What's the program called? The catalog. It was for free.
Oh,
so
yeah. I got you.
Yeah, because I played it when it was on Game Pass, and I played that co-op with all my family. But they added it to PlayStation 5 for free, so I was like, I'll download and play it by myself. That game's a lot harder by yourself. It is. It's more fun when you're playing with someone else too. So,
Well, I mean,
game,
it's based off the old Ninja Turtle beat 'em ups, like Turtles in Time. It's supposed to be played with multiple people, but the DLC looked really, really good. Adding, I'll be honest, I've forgotten the rabbit's name.
well, not just the rabbit dude, but they're adding the all like costumes like from all eras. of TMNT.
Let me tell you something. They're adding Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is cool. They're adding the arcade, the NES skins. That's cool. They're adding the 2003 Ninja Turtles as a skin. That is going to be my main skin. The 03 Ninja Turtles are ignored, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I love me some 03 Turtles. That game on Xbox, I play that game all the time. It was like a 3D beat 'em up.
Yeah,
I forget it was called that.
It's the first one's just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I think it's Battle Nexus, and then the third one.
I think I played the first one on Xbox a lot.
I played the first one as well. I love that one.
Yeah,
it was also like based off of the show, so it kind of like had the cut scenes for it. I loved it. And then my second question: how far are you in P4G without spoilers?
Without spoilers, I just reached the month of September, so I'm like 65% done with the game, I want to say.
Okay.
Because there's three more of the main storyline from the original game stuff left to do, and then there's the bonus stuff that's exclusive to Golden after that. So yeah, I'm gonna say about 60% done with the game.
Okay, awesome. I haven't played it yet. I honestly, you would think because of how much I love and talk about Persona, I would play these games, but I have been restraining myself from playing a lot of games, and I'll go ahead and just say what I'm doing. So I'm going to be streaming this game, but I'm going to be playing it. Starting, at the time of this recording, at the time this is released, August 8th, I should have already been started replaying Spider-Man Remastered.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing.
Are you doing New Game Plus? Are you doing like the ultimate, super hard difficulty?
I am doing a New Game Plus on Ultimate because Ultimate is not that hard. It is
No,
honestly
it's not.
it's the easiest hard difficulty I've ever experienced. I'm like, this is not that hard. I think I died like the first time I ever played Ultimate.
Your goal was extra.
Yeah, I've already platinumed the game on PS4. I'm gonna platinum it again on PS5 and Steam. I have that game, one of my favorite games of all time and of last gen specifically. But then I'm basically gonna be playing Spider-Man Remastered in August, and I intend to finish that before September. And then when September rolls around, I'm gonna be playing Miles Morales, and we're basically on the road to Spider-Man 2 because I will be streaming Spider-Man 2 when that game drops. Got to.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for that damn game.
yeah. When the PS5 first came out, and obviously Miles Morales was a launch day game, and it came bundled with Spider-Man Remastered, I definitely played Spider-Man Remastered. I'd already platinumed the game just like you on PlayStation 4, but I went back and I never played the DLC, and I never did New Game Plus. So what I did was that a few months ago and earlier this year, I played through the entire game, New Game Plus on Ultimate difficulty, and then I played the DLC. So I finally played the DLC and 100%ed each of the DLCs. So if you look on my PlayStation profile, I have 100% of all the trophies on the PS5 version. So it was fun getting to experience the DLC because I had not played it. I don't know why I never played it. Yeah, the DLC's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. They turned Hammerhead into Silvermane, which fine, because Hammerhead really wasn't that much of a character anyway.
It was kind of weird though. I mean,
it was weird, but again, like Silvermane's whole thing is going back to the good old days, and they just basically that's what I'm saying. Like they turned Hammerhead into Alistair Silvermane from the Spider-Man comics. So
yeah.
But yeah, other than that, not really playing a lot. I will say, I went to say this for the intro video. I told you all this already, but like this experience is also going to help me finally start playing more of the games that I've been hoarding. There's no other way to put it. I've been hoarding games because I wanted to save my first impressions for when I do reviews and stuff like that. So this is going to be a way to unclench that, untighten that knot, basically, and that I've been having of not playing these games, because I have been wanting to play a lot of them, but I just like, nope, save it for the review, save your first experiences for the review. But now I gotta get out of that habit because I can finally start working on those.
Nice. So Blinded, what are you currently playing?
So right now I'm still trying to 100% Tears of the Kingdom.
God damn, you still on that?
We're almost in August.
Yeah, 100%.
Braille, blink twice if you need help.
No, this is a phenomenal game. I love this game. I do have flaws with it, but I wanted just 100% it to see every single aspect, to get every single outfit, even the Korok seeds, which I know is insane. There's like 1,000 of them.
You don't even need 1,000.
I'll say this. My man, the completionist, hasn't even made his video yet on it. So
he did an update video.
No. He did an update video just to talk about where he's at in the game. Like,
yeah. Well, I finished the phenomenons. I'm almost done. I think it's 152 shrines, so I'm almost done that. And then I have to get the dragon tears. There's a lot to do in the game. Yeah, and then also I'm also revisiting Splatoon 3. Me and my buddies are going back into that. I'm trying to max out my character because I only stopped at like level 24. So I want to get to 30. And yeah, I've been most of my time is just playing Zelda because I absolutely love Zelda. I've played pretty much all the Zelda games, 2D and 3D. So it's one of my favorite franchises, and I always have a critical view of it. Even though I think
Metroid.
Yeah, right next to Metroid. But I mean, there's other franchises that, I mean, like Fallout's another franchise that I absolutely love, and I played all of them. But I mean, Tears of the Kingdom, it is a great game. It's obviously going to get nominated for Game of the Year.
I think it's going to win Game of the Year, to be honest.
It's going to win Game of the Year.
It's going to Game of the Year. Just because of the mechanics alone. This game might have taken my enjoyment from other open world games, if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, I recently, so I played Tears of the Kingdom on launch, and I've been playing it. I want to say I beat the game either end of June or first week of July. We're recording this episode on July 25th, but I beat the game. I did not 100% it. What I did was that I basically like completed almost everything you possibly could, regards to both the main scenario and like the most important side quest. So I want to say I at least got like 60 to 70% of the game done, but I didn't get all the Korok seeds. I didn't get all the outfits or all the upgrades. I definitely didn't explore all of the depths. I explored a lot of the depths, but not all of it. It is such a massive game. I mean, I understand like playing this game for months and months and months on end. There's just so much to do. But I will say,
I got it for cheap. I got it for like $40, and I still haven't touched it.
Nice. Oh, but in terms of the story, without spoilers, of course, it's extraordinary. I think the story is a major improvement from Breath of the Wild in terms of like story and character arcs and what they do with it. But I did say this on Twitter. I didn't post any of the clips of the videos because I wanted to avoid spoilers. I know a lot of people I know and just in general haven't finished the game yet because it's such a big game. The final couple hours of that game, like the actual, like the final part, like the final boss and just like the ending of the game was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had. Like it was so epic and grand. It was extraordinary. And again, no spoilers, but I will always remember getting the Master Sword in Tears of the Kingdom. Just the way it happened, like after seeing a cutscene where you collect a tear and you get the final cutscene, and then it cuts to what it cuts to, and then your journey to get there to get that sword. Oh man, magical game experience. Magical. So, that's always going to sit in my memory.
Let me ask you, good God. So, real quick, when it comes to me doing games that I'm going to be doing for my reviews, one website that I use to help with that is How Long to Beat. And currently, How Long to Beat has Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for completionists, 221 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, to complete
Breath of the Wild was 190.
Just to complete the main story alone,
59 hours. It says 59 hours to complete the main story.
My final playtime for the game, I believe, was about 73 hours, 72. So,
dog, like that's insanity, man.
Yeah. People are gonna be playing this game for months.
Let me ask. I don't want to get on a quick side tangent. Just a quick side tangent. We can talk more about this when the time comes in December. But a friend of mine and me last night were talking, and we were talking about Final Fantasy 16 and how it's a very mature. It's for a Final Fantasy game. It's very mature, very dark, very serious, and we came to the conclusion that it could have the same effect that God of War and Elden Ring had this past year, where God of War won every title, every award except Game of the Year. And I said I think the same thing's going to happen with Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy could sweep the Game Awards on every level, but Tears of the Kingdom is going to win Game of the Year because it's Zelda.
Well, I don't think because it's Zelda. I think this game, in my opinion, is doing a lot more unique things compared to other Zelda games, especially mechanic-wise, with the Ultra Hand and the fuse ability, where Breath of the Wild was a game that was very much about experimenting, right? Like you experiment with the food to come up with different combinations. And I feel like that little premise that was in Breath of the Wild was expanded on. Some people even say like Breath of the Wild is the skeleton and Tears of the Kingdom is the muscle, right?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, there are some powers in Breath of the Wild that from Breath of the Wild that are dearly missed. Which kind of sucks because, like, you know, some of the powers from Breath of the Wild I wish could have carried over, but obviously they don't for story and gameplay reasons. But but the mechanics in Tears of the Kingdom are insane. If Nintendo ever goes to GDC to like do it like a demonstration of how they even got to do some of the stuff they did, especially on this kind of hardware, I would love to know because it's insane.
Yeah, I would want it. I mean, they designed this very thoroughly. I mean, when you have an ability like Ascend, where you can almost use it in a lot of shrines, they obviously have to build the shrines like the ceiling like 10 times higher so you can't even reach it, right?
Yeah, they have to like try and make sure you can't break the game. Because a
Right.
lot of
And-
these powers are very gameplay breaking if it was poorly designed.
Right. And they kind of want, the thing is, they don't want the game obviously to break completely, but they kind of want you to find other ways of solving shrines and different puzzles. Like this game is a massive puzzle within itself, if you think about it.
Oh yeah,
Right.
for sure. For
Right.
sure.
So, I mean, and if I had to have some problems with the game, I feel like I love the shrines and the creativity with them. And I kind of wish they pushed it further because to me at least, when you can kind of do what you want, the problem solving aspect sometimes becomes non-existent, right? Because you can find out other solutions fairly easily. But I still love the shrines just because again they kind of push your creativity. And I haven't really seen an open world game where creativity and experimentation is at the forefront. And that's why I was like, I don't think I could play another open world game for a while. I mean, there's Starfield, and I want to play that game.
And the
obviously.
Cyberpunk DLC.
And Cyberpunk, right? But this is like such a different take on the open world genre that I hope developers actually copy this. Like this is the one time where I'm like, they should copy this. Like, if we're just able to build things or design things in the world that are useful combat in something like Horizon, like a Horizon 3, like that would actually make me interested in playing Horizon because I don't really care about Horizon all that much, unfortunately. Right.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, it's not really one of my favorite.
I still need to play
last
Forbidden
gen.
West.
I still need to play Forbidden West as well, RJ. You're not alone. I bought the DLC as well.
I bought Forbidden West since like I played like the first couple hours and never went back to it. I don't know why. I think this other stuff was coming out that just grabbed my attention more.
That you know what? I think honestly, if we're good, I think that could be a great way to segue into
Yeah. So let's go ahead and
topic.
get into
if we're ready. If we're not, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I'm
I'm more
ready.
than happy to keep talking about Zelda.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm ready if you guys are.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the main topic of today's show, which is going to take up a bulk of the conversation. That's kind of our thoughts on the current state of gaming. Like I said at the top of the show, we're going to kind of be going in order of kind of discussing the three major platforms, the three major companies, and that's Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox. We're saving Xbox for last because we have a lot to say about that.
Thank you. I was going to recommend that you do that.
Yeah. So we're going to start this conversation by talking about Nintendo, since we already talking about Zelda. So let's kind of get into the current state of Nintendo. So obviously, Pikmin 4 has just released, a game I very badly want to play, but I didn't have the money for, and I will hopefully get it very soon. I played the demo of Pikmin 4, and it was phenomenal. One of the best demos I've ever played. It was incredible. I really, really, really want to play Pikmin 4. It's so much fun. Really good. Really good. So Pikmin 4 just dropped on Nintendo Switch. That's out now for everyone to go buy. That's a major first-party Nintendo game. In terms of the rest of the year slate for Nintendo, we have Super Mario RPG Remake, we have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, we have the rest of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pack, the final two characters being out as DLC, and I'm trying to think, what else do we have coming up from Nintendo in the fall?
Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3 DLC, yeah.
Well, I assume we're going to get a Nintendo Direct in September.
Yeah, we
so
probably
have that to
will.
look
We probably
forward
will,
to.
yeah.
We normally do.
Yeah.
But in terms of like their major releases confirmed thus far, that's all we know, right?
Yeah, they confirmed their
right now.
fall slate at E3, or not E3, but in the summertime. Like this past month, they announced their fall slate of games.
Yeah. So obviously the end of the year for Nintendo this year is very Mario focused, with of course the Mario Kart Deluxe Booster Pack and Super Mario RPG Remake and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So overall, I guess we can open this talking about just in terms of their fall slate. How do we feel about their fall slate for this year, and how are we feeling about where Nintendo's going? Because Nintendo's in a very interesting position to me. Obviously, the Switch is winding down. It's in its twilight years, but they're still pumping out some great games. They're pumping out a lot of great content. Potentially, we could be seeing the new Nintendo console either fall of next year or early 2025. which would be very interesting. So I guess I will start with you, Meta. How are you feeling about Nintendo's fall slate and where they're at right now?
So I'll go ahead and just do an absolutely shameless plug. If you want to see our live reactions to their fall slate, go to my channel, From the Neighborhood Meta, and watch us three react to the Nintendo Direct that happened last month. We were all, I think, genuinely surprised and excited from what we saw, because some of the things that we forgot is it's not only just Mario RPG and Wonder. Those are the two big ones. And that is because I think of how big the Mario movie was at the start of this year. But Princess Peach is getting a new game, and Luigi's Mansion 2 is the first. I'm saying it this way because I'm very hopeful, and I think Arlo went into more detail about this on his channel.
Yeah,
this remastering Luigi's Mansion 2, which was a 3DS game, shows that Nintendo is quite possibly considering doing that with a lot of their 3DS games. And I feel like I really do speak for Blinded and myself here. Samus Returns needs to be a part of that Switch lineup. That way we will have access.
I was going to go somewhere completely different.
Well, no. This is why I'm saying this. We would have access to the entire 5 games of the original Metroid run.
Right.
Metroid's cool and all.
Zero Mission.
Can we save Kid Icarus?
Yeah, Kid Icarus is the big one that I want.
Well, Kid Icarus, yes, but
Kid Icarus is one of the most underrated 3DS games. Period. It's a great game. I think it's the only Nintendo game with voice acting, which is insane. Like, it's start to finish. The gameplay is great. The multiplayer was also needed a remaster too, because playing that on 3DS was a nightmare. Your hands would literally die. Okay, playing that. But that's the one game that, and I mean, Samus Returns. Yeah, that was.
Well,
great.
Think about it, because like on because of the GBA, the GBA library now being accessible on Switch, you would have Metroid. I think it's Metroid Fusion is available, but all they need is Metroid Zero Mission added to that, and you have Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid 4, and then Metroid Dread.
Right.
You have Samus's original story from start to finish, because Zero Mission is just a remake of the first game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would love to have that as a Metroid fan, and then being able to hopefully see in the future Metroid Prime 1 through 4 as well. Like, Metroid just having this presence on a Nintendo console that we've never seen before. I would love that.
Yeah, that also does make me excited, because then hopefully we do get Prime 2 and 3, and then obviously Prime 4. So, I mean, I'm hoping that Metroid does sell well enough for Nintendo to be like, maybe we should push on this, because when they did that with Fire Emblem blew up, right? Fire Emblem Awakening was going to be the last Fire Emblem game that they were just going to shelve the franchise.
Yeah, Fire Emblem was almost a dead series before that game.
Yeah, so, it makes sense that now Nintendo do that to their other franchises like Kid Icarus or F-Zero. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
To Blinded's point, the Switch has kind of brought, because the Switch is so successful, it has brought a lot of their franchises back in the limelight. Metroid is a lot bigger now than it used to be, I think.
Than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem has continued to grow. I mean, Fire Emblem 3 Houses was a massive success. I think it's like the best-selling strategic.
I saw some statistics.
Ever.
It's like 4 years old now. I saw some statistics when I was out earlier. I should have saved them. I think it said like 40 million copies sold.
No,
40 million? No way. No.
I'm pretty sure it said 40 million. I'm trying to find.
I think it was 4 million. I think it was 4 million.
40 million would put it in like the top 3 best selling Switch games. So I don't.
Yeah, I think it was 4 million, which is still very good. I'm just.
Yes.
But I'm trying to think of what else. So Metroid, I think, is blown up a lot because of the Switch's success. I think Fire Emblem as well. What other franchises we're missing? It's really. I think Pikmin. I think Pikmin 4.
Pikmin is because Shigeru Miyamoto just loves Pikmin so much he refused to let it die.
Right.
Apparently, Shigeru Miyamoto has been a big driving force behind Pikmin being brought to Switch.
Right.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
And
So I
Xenoblade
think the
too.
next logical step is to try and bring back Kid Icarus, F-Zero, and Star Fox. Those three are like the most neglected.
I mean, and we're forgetting
franchises at this point.
one specific one, and
Donkey Kong.
yeah, DK,
Mhm.
Donkey Kong. Like, he's supposed to get his own solo movie because of the Mario movie. Like, and Tropical Freeze being ported to Switch did save that game from being stuck on a dead console, kind of
Yeah,
waiting for
and it
Xenoblade
did sell well.
Chronicles.
It did sell well on the Switch.
It's a great
It did
game,
sell
too.
well. All the Switch ports, the Wii U ports, all of them for the most part sold really well, I believe. That's why I'm really hoping that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess will get ported, and then Xenoblade Chronicle X
I
will
agree.
get ported.
I'm
That's the
hoping they
only
get ported
Xenoblade
as
game
well.
that's not available on Switch.
I still think they should remaster Star Fox Zero. Because that game on the Wii U is terrible, but I think it would actually play better on the Switch without, the two-screen crap that the Wii U was. But
The
yeah.
Wii U,
That's what-
let's face
that's
it,
what
the
we
Wii U
hope
was
for, at
the Wii
least.
U was a prototype Switch. Let's just be real here. The
Yeah.
gamepad is a prototype Switch.
Yeah. But overall, when it comes to Nintendo, we feel pretty good about their fall slate. I mean, Mario RPG and Mario Wonder alone are going to carry them for the rest of the
Mario
year.
RPG. Also, I thought about this the other day, guys. If Mario RPG sells well, there have been those rumors that a Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake was either talked about or in the works or something.
Well, let me
If
ask
it-
you though, like, why would they not remake the first game? Because the first game's the oldest
The first
one.
game is
That's on-
available. The first game is available through their online service.
Online. And
Yeah,
A
I
Thousand
guess
Year
that's
Door
true.
No,
is
the
the game that's celebrated the most, right?
Think about this, RJ. Also think about this.
But
we
it's,
have a-
it's
we-
a
we
sequel,
have seen-
so
no,
you'd
no,
be skipping
hold on.
the first game.
We have seen more. We have like the GameCube has been getting a lot of recognition this generation. Mario Sunshine received a port, the first time it's ever had a port. You have all the Pikmin 1 and 2 from the GameCube.
Metroid Prime.
You have Metroid Prime remastered from the GameCube. The GameCube is getting a renaissance, a
Yeah, that's
revitalization,
true.
something. Like, I don't see if that's a success, because Nintendo knows how much of a cult following and beloved by their group of fans the GameCube
Well, they also
is.
know that they can resell their old stuff. They remaster it for a lot of
Yep.
Listen, if it all looks like Metroid Prime remaster, because let me tell you guys, I put that on my monitor. Oh my god!
Oh, it's an amazing remaster. They did a great
Oh,
job
it's
with
so
it.
beautiful.
So I definitely think that's a possibility. But yeah, I think their fall slate looks really good this year. Still a lot of questions though about the future Nintendo, mostly in regards to what does it look like next year? Because next year we already got some stuff. Matt mentioned earlier, we're getting the Princess Peach game, we're getting Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon remastered. But where does Nintendo go from here? Because I do think next year is the final year of Switch.
Yeah.
And I also want to add this real quick. The Nintendo. So I said this about the PS4. The PS4 Swan Song year was probably one of the greatest send-offs to a console I have ever seen.
Wasn't it Ghost of Tsushima and
Hold
Last
on.
of Us
Okay,
2?
so we had Spider-Man, God of War, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, within the span of like a couple of years.
Well, it was a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years, but still, that is an amazing swan song. And I think the Switch could have that same type of swan song with Tears of the Kingdom, Metroid, Tears of the Kingdom. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a cross-gen title, just like Breath of the Wild was for the Wii U and Switch. I think it's going to be a cross title, but even still, that's a big game to end the Switch on. So I think the Switch has the potential to have one of the greatest swan songs that I have seen since the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I do think Metroid Prime, honestly, that game's been sitting in the can for so long, it can go one of two ways. It could launch sometime next year finally, or it is the swan song game, maybe fall of 2024. And then it's like a dual release. But can Metroid support that? Because I know they've only ever really done that with Zelda, if you think about it.
So
do they believe in Metroid to sell on both consoles?
Let me tell you
and be
this.
a cross-gen game?
Let me answer that with this. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. But like Metroid Prime Remastered, when they shadow dropped that, it had record-selling numbers for that game in general. It did better than I think even the original GameCube version did. And then as far as Metroid Dread launched a few years ago and won Best Action Game. And it sold record numbers for the series as well. Metroid fans we have been starving for Metroid content, and we're finally getting it. And we are showing Nintendo that we are grateful little fans, and that we are so thankful. I'm guaranteeing you, if they put out 2 and 3 either as a bundle or as separate ones, those will see record numbers as well. Metroid is finally going to become what I have been seeing it as all this time. The third piece of the trinity that Nintendo needs. You have Zelda, Mario, and Metroid. You're covering a massive you're covering a massive amount of land to appease different genres and different types of people.
Right. That's the hope, at least. So yeah, for me at least, looking ahead to the future of Nintendo, I think they're in a good spot. Although Nintendo is the wild card, because like when we get into Sony and Microsoft, we kind of know what's going on for the most part in terms of like next year. Nintendo, we really have no clue. We don't even know when
keeping secrets.
And we don't know when the next console's coming out, because we're nearing the end of this this console's life cycle. So what happens next? Now the hope obviously is that we get a Switch successor that will just be a more powerful version of what already exists, and then it'll be backwards compatible and everything will be fine. Most likely that's what they're going to do. So we'll see with that.
Nintendo, I will say, for the most part, has been very backwards compatible friendly. The Wii was backwards compatible with GameCube. Wii U was backwards compatible with Wii.
Well, except with Wii U to Switch, but that's because
they switched cartridges.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's also like the rumor. I didn't mean to cut you off. There's also the rumor titles as well.
The rumor titles, as in
like the 3D Donkey Kong game, stuff like that.
Right. Yes. There's a bunch of rumors.
Oh yeah, something that's been rumored forever. If I were to make a prediction, this is my prediction for next year. I think in addition to the Princess Peach game and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Remastered, I do think next year there will be a Star Fox game of some kind. Because Star Fox Zero came out near the end of the Wii U's life cycle. I think they're probably cooking up something Star Fox related for next year's Swan Song year.
That would be interesting.
Donkey Kong, I sadly do not think is going to get a game, simply because Retro Studios probably would have been working on one if they weren't trying to fix and develop Metroid Prime 4.
Right.
I think they want Retro to continue the Donkey Kong series.
Well, I think they are making a Donkey Kong series. It's not going to be the 2D game, but I think we haven't gotten a 3D Donkey Kong game in over 2 decades?
Yeah, almost 20 years. Donkey Kong 64.
Right. So,
but who would develop it?
Well, I think it's going to be Nintendo in-house. Like, we haven't even seen what the team of Mario Odyssey was making, and I think they actually are not making another Mario game. I think they're making a Donkey Kong game. So that's one of the big rumors that's been floating around. And I've told Meta the story of the rumored Donkey Kong game, because it was allegedly being developed by Activision. I think it was Toy for Bob, or that studio that makes the Crash games. And Shigeru Miyamoto really liked the idea, but Activision didn't want to contribute to the project, so they kind of just took the idea and they ran out and did their own thing with it. So if that is true, I mean, that's going to be interesting. I mean, we did get a 3D Kirby game, and we haven't seen a 3D Kirby game in a while, or at least a platformer, 3D platformer type.
Yeah, I mean, Kirby and the Forgotten Land was like the first true 3D open zone Kirby game. So
yes, yeah. So I think Donkey Kong is overdue for a 3D game. I think it'd be very interesting to see what they do with it. He's more of a brute character, especially when you play the 2D games. He's very kind of slow and heavy. Yeah. And I think that would work really well in a 3D environment.
Plus, you got the cast of characters you can play as. I mean,
right.
So that'd be interesting.
Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong.
I will say, though, I will be kind of sad because a lot of us have wanted a Super Mario Odyssey sequel, like a direct sequel, kind of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. So I would be kind of sad if we lost that. But
I think we are going to get a 3D
from them.
I think we're always going to get a 3D Mario. It just takes a while, right? Like, they're usually like 6-7 years in between. So
yeah, I mean, like Galaxy 1 and 2, think about the time. I mean, the time between 64 and Sunshine was not as big as the time gap between Sunshine and Odyssey. Or not Odyssey.
or Galaxy.
Mario Galaxy, excuse me. And then of course Mario Galaxy 2, and then there's Odyssey. So
well, there's 3D Land too.
3D.
I
I don't
always
really
like
count 3D Land, but
They do count it though as a 3D game.
oh god,
because it's the like
they're great. They're a great game.
It built the foundation for 3D World.
3D World is the one I can't stand with that stupid ass camera. I hate that.
I love 3D
camera, man.
World.
That camera. I have a vendetta against that camera.
Oh,
anyway,
3D World Champions Road. That's all I have to say.
Well, also too. I mean, we just had Bowser's Fury, which I think that's going to be what the next 3D Mario is going to be. It's kind of like
100%.
like an open,
100%.
like this open zone area. I think
that
they're going to
that
move.
was a concept game for them, to be honest with you. That's laying the foundation for the future of Mario.
Yes, it seems like Nintendo's moving and like let's experiment with open world games in like different genres, which I don't mind because it is kind of unique and interesting when you get like an open world platformer because there's not a lot of those. So
I may be throwing too much pie in the sky here, but I would love an open world like Kid Icarus game or Metroid, like being able to travel to different planets and stuff in Metroid. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I wonder if Metroid Prime 4 is like that.
Oh my god, if it is, oh my god.
Yeah.
It could be. But yeah, I think so overall I'd say we're pretty optimistic about where Nintendo's going. Just that we need a lot more answers. And I think hopefully with the rumored September direct that they always do going into next year, post Mario RPG and Mario Wonder, I think we probably will get those answers. So just one of those cases we're going to wait and stay tuned. But I think we're reaching the end of the life cycle for the Switch. That probably means that they got a lot of cool stuff being cooked up that'll hopefully drop next year into early 2025 before the launch of Switch 2 or whatever their next console is going to be.
And I hope that Nintendo, because this is something that we can talk about when we get to PlayStation.
Yeah, because you're going to get right to them next.
I hope Nintendo has learned from this generation. I hope they have learned why the Switch was a success and why the Wii U did fail. I hope they have learned this lesson, because companies, as we're about to get to, tend to forget why they were successful at the previous year's dance, so to speak, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, I hope Nintendo has learned from this. I hope that whatever the new console is, it improves upon the Switch in some capacities.
It needs to be to the Switch with because you know how Switch was like powerful enough to at least port PS4 and Xbox One games.
Oh, yeah, I've heard.
The next Switch needs to be able to port PS5 and Xbox Series X games.
Well, I've heard that it's at least going to be as powerful as like the PS4 Pro was.
Nah, I think it needs to be a little bit more powerful than that, to be honest.
Nintendo doesn't care. They care about the actual games.
Oh, no, I agree. I know they do. I'm just saying that slightly more powerful than PS4 Pro, at least like a smooch more powerful.
I get what you're saying. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, the PS4 Pro was able to do a lot.
Right, yeah.
And so was the Xbox One X. Like, those two were not, those were not sleeper consoles. Like, there was a reason why those mid-gen refreshes were such a success.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow,
we'll wait and
all
see.
in all, I think the future does look bright for Nintendo. And yeah, they're really good at keeping things close to the chest. So it's one of those we'll just have to wait and see type things. Sometimes things do leak like RPG, but it's very seldomly rare.
Yeah. Blinded, did you want to say anything about Nintendo before we moved on?
I'm kind of hoping the next console is again like has that Nintendo energy where it's usually something out of the box, right? Like people didn't really comprehend what the Switch was when it first was announced in like 2016, right? Or even the Wii U back in like 2011, right? So I prefer when they always do that creative route because it keeps it fresh and interesting. But also like how do you market that and how do you make another successful console like the Switch? So I'm hoping, because this is a new regime, right? This is not Iwata anymore. He unfortunately passed away, right? So
yeah, that is a good point. What is this new corporate entity of Nintendo? What do these new board people and the new president want to do?
Yeah.
To me, I think that they may play it very safe and just do a straight up Switch successor because they got a winning formula. Why not stick to it for right now? Just like Wii to Wii U.
Well, I mean, look at what happened with the Wii U.
Well,
That's
the
the
Wii U had a lot of
part.
mistakes though, besides like the actual console itself, which yeah, they probably
I
should
I,
have made. Yeah.
I think the Wii U in general was just a fail, like through and through. Right when it started and right when it ended, unfortunately. So yeah, but that's a whole different topic. Because I actually had a Wii U, and it's oh man, I still
I
see it
have a
every
Wii
day.
U right now. I'm
Yeah,
looking at it.
uh, very disappointed in that console, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean, now it's good for.
emulating,
say-
I guess.
Well, yeah, let's just say there's a little. I put a pirate flag sticker on it for a reason.
Oh man, that's
It's really good for that.
Virtual console. Well, they should have done the store list. Never mind.
Anyway.
But
Mhm.
Virtual console was good. But yeah. Anywho, let's move on to the second little pillar of the big three that we're going to talk about, and that is going to be Sony, aka PlayStation. So, off the top of my head, you guys can chime in if I forget anything. Pretty much the big game for their fall 2023 is, of course, Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I'm missing?
I think unless they have a VR game, I don't.
There's probably
Well,
some VR
that's
games
it.
coming out, but yeah, for the most part, Spider-Man 2 is the game they're going to be marketing the absolute most going into the fall.
Right.
Right.
And in terms of that, they also held their summer presentation, their state of play, which you reacted to. Go check that out on, I believe, Meta's
Yeah.
channel.
That's on
It
my
was
channel.
it was a complete. It was bad. It was a bad showcase.
It was the worst. Now, to be fair, I still think part of that was because our expectations were so high. But at the same time,
They set
after
those
the
expectations.
last one that they had, which was a knockout, everyone kind of expected these to be knockout after knockout. Like, this is where Sony should bring their A game. They didn't. It was a whole mess.
Right. So to
Right.
recap Sony's 2023 thus far, Final Fantasy 16 just released exclusively for PlayStation 5 a few weeks ago, I believe, about a month ago at this point, right? Late June. So that's been out for about a month. Pretty successful for them. Got some good reviews, all that good stuff. One of the games came out for Sony this year. I know Final Fantasy 16 just came out. We have Spider-Man 2 coming out in the fall.
Give me one moment. And I can,
PSVR.
yeah, the
PSVR.
PSVR 2 launch, that was a piece of hardware. That was a very big deal for them.
That's really it for PlayStation.
Pretty much. It's been sort of a quieter year. But in terms of what they have coming up, we just got God of War and Horizon. So those franchises, we're not going to see anything from them, at least not next year.
Yeah,
in terms of first party, we do know that Ghost of Tsushima 2 is coming up potentially next year. We know that the Last of Us multiplayer game is being worked on right now, as well as potentially Last of Us Part 3, due to see some casting leaks that came out recently. So, yeah, Sony's a bit of a mystery as well in terms of what they got cooking up. That's kind of the problem that we had with the State of Play back in June, is they didn't really give a clear indication of what is next for PlayStation, because we got through phase 1, right, or phase 2, because Spider-Man 2 is kind of the end of this phase of PlayStation. After Spider-Man 2, we really have no clue what Sony's doing next.
Okay,
we got some vague
Can
ideas.
Can I take control, since I am the one that has a PlayStation hat on in his avatar?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wow.
So go ahead, Meta. What do you feel about Sony's lineup for this year and what their future is?
This is kind of bad, but we did forget about one timed console exclusive, and that is Forspoken.
Oh right.
Well,
You can
the
tell-
entire world
Yeah.
forgot about that game. So
Well, there's also I believe this is an indie game. It's called Season: A Letter to the Future. They also had a big VR game for them this year for VR2 was Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is the first Horizon spinoff. They have a lot of Horizon spinoffs planned.
Yeah.
Horizon is going to be a very big IP for them going forward. They also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be a future exclusive for them.
yeah, that should be early next year.
Early next year. So as far as the future goes, right? So I'm looking up a bunch of different
Thank
stuff
you for
here.
reminding me that. So for early next year, we know. Well, actually, just next year.
Here we
in
go.
general,
Here we
we're
go.
getting Rebirth.
Yeah, so we're getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Stellar Blade has yet to be announced with a release date. It's supposed to come out this year. Stumbling
I
over
think
here.
it's probably been pushed next year.
It's probably been pushed back, along with Pragmata from Capcom, which has been a title we've known about for a while now. And then of course you have It is still in the works. It is still in the works. I'm going to say it one more time just so y'all understand. This game is still in the works. It has not been delayed or canceled. The KOTOR remake is real. It is happening. Embracer had a earnings meeting, and that is considered the biggest game of their company's like history up to this point. The KOTOR remake, they're putting a lot on that, and so it being a PlayStation exclusive, let's just hope it's a good remake is all I can say at this point. But I
just hope it comes out at all.
It's going to come out, RJ. It's just not going to come out. It may come out 2020 next year, mid to late next year, or at the latest, the very furthest, early 2025.
I think 2025 is like the optimistic.
But here is another game that's coming out for the future of PlayStation. That's an exclusive. Insomniac and Marvel's Wolverine.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That's the problem though, Meta. Like you're listening, like not like with you. I'm saying with Sony in general. They have stuff coming out. We just have no clue where in the pipeline it falls. Outside of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that's the only one we know.
So I'm gonna say this, and I don't care if it's a slight jab at Microsoft. We at least know the shit's gonna come out. We know that this stuff is coming. Death Stranded 2 coming out. Wolverine coming out. Rebirth coming out. Like, these games are going to happen. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we'll get to Microsoft when we get to Microsoft, but that's my big thing.
I am concerned about that Last of Us multiplayer game, though. I think that
I'm going to go ahead and just say this now. That shit should be, if it hasn't already, that thing needs to be shit canned. It's taken way too damn long. No, it's taken way too damn long to make. Honestly, I think Naughty Dog got too ambitious, which is saying something for them. They need to go ahead and just either cancel the damn project or make it into something else, because it's been 3 years since Last of Us Part 2 dropped.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken way too damn long. Like, I just...
Well, that seems to be the running theme with PlayStation, in my opinion.
Taking too damn long?
Yeah, because I've been soured on PlayStation. I'm not hyping up PlayStation no more on, like, the PS4 era, which...
What are you talking about, Blind Dude? We know you love Jim Ryan.
Oh, man. I just...
Can we explain that real quick for the audience here? Like, Blinded, how do you feel about Jim Ryan? Just to
Why are you going to start this?
No, this is a great point, RJ. My big beef with Jim Ryan is that I think he's turning the company into more of a... and I know people love this company, but they're turning them more into Marvel Studios. I always viewed PlayStation as HBO with a lot of variety, different types of games. And now it seems like we're getting a stream of...
Just go ahead and just call it Disney.
Disney quality.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, like, some people might be confused when you compare to Marvel, being like, they're just going to make superhero games. Like, when you compare Jim Ryan's mission statement and make it like Marvel, what do you mean by that?
I mean, more of a... Marvel is very focused on a formula, and it works, and it's successful, and it makes them a lot of money, and sometimes it gets them praise. And I think Jim Ryan must have saw that, the brand synergy. I mean, they have Spider-Man, and that sold a lot for them. And so it kind of makes sense that they're going down this path where a lot of games share different mechanics, kind of like RPG elements and open world aspect. And so they're going all out on that. And personally, I do love, I love The Last of Us Part 2. I love Ghost of Tsushima. Those are games that I hold in high regard, and Uncharted as well. And I'm kind of scared that we're just going to get a bunch of those games until, I guess, the PS5 is done.
Can I piggyback off of you, Braille? Can I piggyback off of you?
Yes.
This was all started. People are not going to want me to say this, but I'm going to say it. This all started because of The Last of Us. That formula
yes
that
and no.
No, the formula we're getting sick of is the over-the-shoulder action-adventure game with some light RPG mechanics, right?
To be fair, though, Meta, to be 100% fair, I don't think it started with Last of Us. I think it started with Uncharted.
Well, that's fair to Uncharted.
I mean, you can say that the problem is The Last of Us came out 10 years ago.
Uncharted 4. The original trilogy kind of does feel more open worldish. It is a linear narrative, but it feels more open world than
No, I'm talking about like
it's a more linear. The Uncharted games have always been
the
linear.
original trilogy was a linear experience.
Yes.
It was a great linear experience, but like they didn't start doing the open world stuff till 4, and that was after Last of Us.
Well, not even 4. Lost Legacy, I think, is the closest to an open world.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
4
believe,
was like the demo for what Lost Legacy became.
Right. Could
So-
be, yes.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
like, I'm
Naughty
just
Dog
saying,
is always linear. So, yeah.
well, I mean, Jack and Daxter was an open, like somewhat open world platformer series. I mean, it did have a linear story, but anyway,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, for me, I wouldn't count that as open world. Like open world has its tropes and its mechanics, and I think
well, I'm
just like
saying,
broadly using it's going to get too confusing.
I mean,
in my opinion.
in those games though, you had like one or two areas you could go
Right.
to, one or two. Actually, now that I think about it, no, Jack and Daxter has different, like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny because like Jack and Daxter, as like, because I recently just finished this game again and platinumed it. You know, like how like in like a Mario, like a regular Mario game, it's like World 1-1, and it's like the regular, the normal level, and then there's an ice world and a lava world and all this other stuff.
Right.
Jack and Daxter is like that, but like for a 3D game. Like you're
Right.
seamlessly
Like-
able to go from the lava world to like the boggy swamp and all that stuff. Like, and then Jack 2 has the different areas of the city, and then Jack 3 expands on that where you go to the entire city, and then you also have the Badlands. So like
Right.
there is that improvement throughout the trilogy of like adding more to the formula, adding more to the world versus what we've seen recently. Let's say from Uncharted 1 all the way to now, where they are very linear experiences.
Mhm.
Gameplay.
I don't have a
and
problem with
storyline.
that at all.
I don't either, but at some point the formula does get overplayed. Like,
But at the same time, I don't want just the open world.
no, I agree, but to originally piggyback off of what you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
compare Jim Ryan with the previous president, Sean Layden.
John Lane. Right.
Sean Layden was phenomenal. I love that man. I really do.
Mhm.
He loved every indie game as much as every AAA game. He just loved games. He would
Right.
praise the smaller titles and the bigger titles at the same time in the same sentence. Jim
Mhm.
Ryan, on the other hand, oh, no one's going to want to play old games because of graphics,
Right.
or no one's going to want, no one's going to want to play these small games. Let's shut Japan Studio down.
Yeah.
I'm still
Which was
salty about that.
devastating. Yeah. I mean, they're shutting down a lot of. I mean, like PlayStation is streamlining a lot of their studios and making them all assimilated, and I don't really think that helps creativity. In my
I somewhat
opinion.
agree with you, Braille. Like, I think that again, like the business model that they have, because we know what their business model is, just like we know what Microsoft's is. PlayStation's like, hey, we'll give you all the resources, we'll give you all the time, money, anything you need. Pick a game, make have an idea, make it, but it has to get a high score on Metacritic. That's their model. That's their business model. Now, what I will agree with you is, again, that's why I said just call it Disney. With video game movies and shows becoming more popular because that formula has finally been cracked, and PlayStation is absolutely going into that with Twisted Metal, Gran Turismo. They had Uncharted. They're getting they had Uncharted. They're supposedly doing a Jack and Daxter animated movie as well, which I'm scared of that. But anyway, you have the Horizon, you have the Horizon movie, God of War series, so on and so on. That's why, for example, for the Twisted Metal show, they added Twisted Metal 1 and 2 to the PlayStation Classics catalog on PlayStation. It's that's the brand synergy you're talking about, Braille. They want those games to be relevant because they've seen what happens with The Witcher and with Cyberpunk on Netflix. When those shows aired, the retention for
The Last of Us now is like the best example because it's proving their point, right? It sold a bunch of copies. The remaster, not the remaster, but the remake. And the show is obviously getting nominated for Emmys. It's a beloved show. It's a great show, even though it is, yes, the first game, but still. And they're just going to play into that now that that's kind of a proven business model for them, which I can't blame them, but yeah.
No, you can't hate. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You can't hate them for again, hate the business model itself, but don't hate the people that participate in it. They're just trying to be successful. Like that's just how it is. And that's why I told my friend this last night. I was like, on the downside, things like like The Last of Us and Twisted Metal and all that, like that's the brand synergy they're going for. And Ratchet and Clank, even back in the day, that's why the Ratchet and Clank PS4 game was made, because of the movie. That movie isn't terrible, by the way. I'm sorry, it's not bad. I like it, but I'm hopeful that if there is a Jak and Daxter movie or show, that a new Jak and Daxter game or a remake of the first game or something Jak and Daxter related is going to come out of this, because they do have the games ported to PlayStation, but go ahead and remake them, or go ahead and port the PS3 HD editions, or make Jak 4. Finally make Jak 4 or something. Like, just give me something, damn it. I want my boys back.
Right.
Yeah, like PlayStation also, I'll say this, as far as like the one part of their business model that has stayed the same is their commitment to exclusives. And I mean that in the sense of like, because they of course, one of the reasons why they rebranded as PlayStation Studios was so that they could, and they also purchased, was it Nexus? Yeah. Nixes, they purchased that studio to help them port their games to PC. So
which has also been a success for them.
Yes, so, but as I've said 1,001 times, and I'll say it one more time, and they've even confirmed that this is the model they're going with. It's going to have a year's exclusivity on PlayStation, and then once that year is over, the game will be ported to PC at some point. So for example, Ratchet and Clank is the most recent example of that. The Last of Us was before that, and then Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and the remaster. You had Returnal, and I'm trying to think, Uncharted 4 and Lost, the Uncharted 4 collection. Like, we're seeing them have success with that, but they're still committed to limited time third-party exclusives like Final Fantasy and Square Enix. Square Enix is one of their biggest third-party exclusive companies. Like a Final Fantasy game.
People think they might just buy them,
or just have big enough stake where they're practically a first-party company by extension. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's just the thing. But then you also have there's more games coming out, like Rise of the Ronin. That's coming out from Toei Tecmo. I'm looking forward to that game. Or is it Bandai Namco? Can't remember.
I'm not sure.
Baldur's 3 was an exclusive this year.
Right, for other reasons though.
For other reasons, but still, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying though, is, and then Armored Core 6, I think, is going to be an exclusive, I think.
I might have to check that one. I thought it was coming to all platforms. And
even if it isn't an exclusive, it's going to have exclusive content or exclusive packs or something that is only on PlayStation.
Right. Yeah.
That's
going to be associated with PlayStation.
That's the game that Sony has never stopped playing, and they probably never will.
It's coming to all platforms. Except
okay,
Switch,
then anyway.
Yeah.
I don't mind being wrong on that front, but
yeah. I think that's just the big thing with Sony, to me at least, is that there's just a lot of questions about when stuff's coming out and like what is the pipeline, what does their next year's slate look like. That's kind of the problem with their state of play, so we didn't really get a clear answer on that.
Well, even like the state of plays and then the showcases, which they really need to go ahead and show what the hell is coming out for 24/25, because
at least give us an idea.
Yeah, and again, like the other thing that happened though that we mentioned, RJ, is like games like Final Fantasy VII, not integrate, Rebirth. Why was it was at Summer Games Fest, not the PlayStation Showcase?
Weird decision. That was such a weird decision. Like, you're having a state of play leading into Summer Games Fest. Like, why would you not? Like, that Rebirth would have been the biggest thing in the state of play outside of Spider-Man. I guess maybe they wanted Rebirth to have its own spotlight compared to Spider-Man. I don't know.
Right.
I will also say...
there's also another point, too, that was recently brought up, which I think is kind of disappointing, but, I mean, the writing was on the wall, is that PlayStation is only going to be giving us 2 games a year. And that's a quote from Jim Ryan. So...
When was that
Ooh.
quote made?
It was made back during the state of play, or not state of play, the showcase. So it was
This
like
past
late
showcase?
May. Yeah.
And we're talking about first party, not
Yeah,
like third
that's
party.
more than likely just first
exclusives.
party. That's
Okay.
first
Yeah,
party.
I'm only
absolutely.
talking about first party, but this
Okay.
is I think I mean this has never really happened. That's the part that's I think
That
is
worries you.
important. Yeah, that they're going
Okay,
to
I mean,
focus
there's a
on
bunch
the
of other
AAA
like
games.
I'm trying
So in
to.
that case, then, what would their games be for next year? Because we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Rebirth
but that's third party
and-
exclusive.
Wolverine.
I
Wolverine
was going to
next
say
year?
Death Stranding 2.
Dude, look at Insomniac's track record. They pumped out Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, Miles Morales, Spider-Man Remastered, Spider-Man 2.
I think Wolverine's 2025 personally.
Nah,
I
like,
personally think that too.
Insomniac is one of PlayStation's most consistent studios.
Not because of like the lack of consistency. I think they just they want to space out release dates.
I mean, they do have 3 teams and they do have a lot of people, but I think 2024 is kind of pushing it.
I mean, that game was announced back when Spider-Man 2 was.
Yeah, I know.
But think about it though. Well, when did the original Spider-Man came out in 2018. Miles Morales came out 2 years later, 2020.
Right.
I'm trying to find. It was here we go. Well, no, that's 2021.
If it
Hold
is
on.
2024, obviously it's going to be late 2024.
It'll be another fall title.
Right.
We also have again Death Stranding supposed to come out next year. Death Stranding 2 is supposed to come out next year. We have Solar Ash. It's not Solar Ash. Excuse me. Stellar Blade at some point is supposed to come out. I'm trying to find that damn list because it was a really impressive list of third party.
They
and
announced
first
like
party
that
games.
Helldivers. They announced Helldivers 2. Isn't that also this year or next year?
Yeah. That's this year.
Yeah.
It comes out really soon, actually. I think.
Okay, so I don't think next year will only be 2 first party games then, 'cause that's already like at least like 3 or 4.
But again, it's no.
Well,
There's Helldivers is third party.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's third party. I think it's
it's-
through THQ Nordic or something.
Helldivers? No.
Or
I think
not
that's
THQ Nordic, but it's through a third party developer.
No,
let
I
me
could have
check for a
sworn that
minute.
was
I
first
thought
party.
that is a first party, but that's not what is coming to PC. It is. Hold on, let me see the studio. Give me 1 second.
Spell, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Eternites is technically an
Arrowhead.
exclusive.
So,
I love that game. That demo was fun. Is this it? Is this what I'm looking for?
yeah, I don't think PlayStation owns Arrowhead.
No,
For
they
sure.
do not. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find. What I'm trying to find is. Here we go. This may be it. Yeah, here we go. So, oh shit, that's relatively soon as well. Okay, so this is. I'm going to go ahead and just read this. All right. So it's saying these are the upcoming PS5 games for 2023 and beyond.
Hmm.
Well, some of these are not exclusives though. That's the thing.
Right.
That's a tricky mess. That's a tricky mess. I think it's also including games that they have the marketing rights to, which I've mentioned this before. Like,
Like
That's a-
Avatar. And
yeah,
stuff
like
that.
Avatar and stuff like that. That's a big deal. I hate when companies. Not
Well, they got to
companies, I
fill
hate-
it out because if they didn't, it would just be 2 games. Shit, that's a.
Well,
Jim
like so, for
Ryan-
example.
I'll look for the quote.
Oh my god. They are really just not. I hate this.
So okay, it wasn't. It's oh, okay, wrong quote.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like some of their just release dates are just like in a very odd place where like you just don't
Well, also
know.
the thing that I'm having issue with is I can't find a definitive can't find a damn definitive source. Hold on. Is this it? Is we good? Is this happening? Is this it? I can't tell. I can't fucking tell. Yes, this is okay. Yes, This is one. Okay, so you have Fair Games, which that's coming out. That's already out for PlayStation. It was published by Sony. It was developed by Haven Interactive Studio. You have Evo. I can't even pronounce this. Evo. It's like a mixture of Evo and Extinction, basically. It's like Eve. I can't pronounce it.
Extinction.
Evo.
Whatever. Evo.
It's being developed by Spikeware Games and Perp Games. As far as I can tell, it is going to be an exclusive. Stellar Blade, of course, is the Korean-based studio. Shift Up. Sony is publishing the game, so they're getting exclusivity rights. I keep seeing this game pop up. Eternites is supposed to be an exclusive. It's not an exclusive, but I think it's being published by them.
Okay.
Then of course there's Foam Stars, which is PlayStation Splatoon. But I actually heard from the actual Summer Games Fest event that Foam Stars was actually very well received. So Sony may actually have something to combat Nintendo with for Splatoon with Foam Stars.
No,
it may
we'll
not
have
be
to see about that one. I don't I don't know about that one.
No, I'm not saying it's going to be better. I'm saying it's going to be able to compete. So PlayStation fans will have that.
That
Splatoon
is
like
not
game.
competing
That's
no matter
not gonna
what.
do it.
It's not a competitor.
You got to understand, Splatoon is massive in Japan, I don't think that's.
I think that
like,
foam game will be popular for like a weekend, maybe if it's lucky, and that's it.
We shall see. We shall see. And then of course there was Spider-Man 2, Rebirth, Baldur's Gate, Wolverine, Death Stranding 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Baldur's Gate.
I just said Baldur's Gate a moment ago.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just sparked my memory. I forgot that game was even coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I think isn't it like an early access on PC right now?
Literally from their own website. I mean, but a lot of these are third party, and I'm not wanting third party.
By the way, I did find the Jim Ryan quote. He says 2 or more major releases from their first party portfolio, and will cover every major genre, which includes shooter, RPG, action, platformer, sports, and racing. So the fact that he says 2 or more, I mean, yes, that's like wiggle room, but I don't know why you would lead with 2.
I will also say, just to, because I cannot find the actual names of these games. Like, we did see a lot of new games from that showcase, actually. Like, I mean, I know we were disappointed, but we did see a lot of new games coming, like Foam Stars, and I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called, but there's that one game that seems sort of Souls-inspired that I was really excited about.
Oh, that ninja game. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
there's a couple of those.
There are, well, what I'm saying is, and they do have a large list of games coming out that are in different stages of development. Insomniac is pumping them out. Sucker Punch, Santa Monica, all those companies are pumping out at least 4. They have like a lot of different pots on the stove, so to speak. Like, they have a lot of projects they're working on. And then there's the ones that Sony is investing in overseas. They're investing in a lot of smaller studios to make indie games for them, because even though PlayStation, not as much as they used to, but they still have that niche indie game market on their platform, and so they're trying to, compete in that regard. And then there's this, and I think this is the perfect segue, RJ, if we're done talking about PlayStation. But
yeah, we can do wrap up in a second.
What we're about to talk about, we're about to see, I think this accurately summed up what we're about to see in the current state of gaming. The console wars are done. Thus began the acquisition wars. I think PlayStation has said they are not done acquiring studios. And with what recently just went down, yeah, they're going to combat that in a big way. We can get into that when we talk about Microsoft. Unless you think we should talk about that now.
Yeah, we could jump into that in a second, but let's do a quick wrap up of how we feel about PlayStation right now. Obviously, I think this year Spider-Man 2 is a heavy juggernaut, but there's still like a lot of questions we got about like the future of things. I would say that's like the big thing for me. Just like a Nintendo, but instead of like Nintendo, where like we have no clue what they're even making right now, it's more so just a question of when is this stuff actually coming out that they've talked about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, I guess, Blinded, if you want to say your thoughts on Sony.
I mean, as I said before, I'm kind of more critical about Sony now. Not to say I won't play their games. I'm obviously going to play Spider-Man 2, but I am going to be more. Let's see. I guess just critical about their games going forward, right? So yeah, that's really it.
Okay, and then Meta, you get the final word on Sony PlayStation.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I said in the previous, just got totally blindsided there. Apologize for that. That was my phone going off. As I said in the previous one about Nintendo, PlayStation. I hate to say it, but ever since Jim Ryan took over from Sean Layden, PlayStation has gotten greedier. PlayStation's tone has changed a bit. They're not as, because again, going from the PS3 into the PS4, they learned from the PS3 and the PS4 era. It was because of what they had learned that they beat Xbox 360. I know people can say 360 won that generation, but when you look at units sold, PS3 came back at the very end and beat it. So Sony has never lost a console generation since they entered the console market. PS4, of course, was a fantastic era and had one of the best swan songs, like I said previously. But now, like, I'm not 100% on board with this new side of Sony. Like, I don't like it as much. In fact, there's a great disdain for Jim Ryan that I have because of that. Like, I know Braille's the one that seems like he's the hater of Jim Ryan, but I don't defend the man. You know, when he calls a spade, I say, yeah, that's right. But when he doesn't, I'm like, eh. Yeah, so I'm as a PlayStation fan all of my life, I'm very concerned with where Sony is at right now, and I hope that at the end of the day that the consumer doesn't, because the popular thing being said right now is that PlayStation PS5 for the payers, because Sony's willing to charge hand over fist. But I just hope that PlayStation continues to make good product, good games, and yeah, I'm concerned where PlayStation's at right now, basically. And it's going to take the rest of this generation to find out where exactly they land at before I can actually say, like, was this a disappointing generation or not?
Yeah, no, I understand, completely understand. So let's go ahead and move on to the final company we're going to be talking about for our main topic for today's show, and this is the big one. This is Microsoft Xbox, and so much has happened. I mean, when we were first planning to even do the show in general, we thought we were going to be talking about Xbox a lot, but like so much has happened even beyond that this could be like an entire show into itself.
The FTC trial came and went. The verdict was cast. Bullshit happened. Well, and it was absolute bullshit, but we're going to get into that.
Well, I don't think it was, but we'll get into it.
Let's get into it then.
Well, so let's go ahead. So, let's just talk about first Xbox's lineup for this year. Obviously, Game Pass stuff. They just dropped Exo Primal on Game Pass. There was also Hi-Fi Rush earlier this year. And, of course, they had a fantastic showcase that I think we all quite enjoyed back in June. So we have Starfield coming up in September. And we also have down the road, we're getting Fable. We're getting Forza Motorsport 7, I believe, this year as well on the fall. So interesting games lined up for Xbox. We got some stuff down the pipeline. So yeah. So you know what? I will go ahead and I'll give it to Blinded first. Blinded, how are you feeling about the state of Xbox right now?
I think unlike PlayStation, I'm more like 50-50. I think there's a lot of good stuff that Microsoft is doing. But then I also question how long can this good stuff go, like Game Pass and them acquiring studios like Bethesda and all their studios under them. as well as what they're going to do with Activision. Like, are they going to clean house on Activision and actually produce good games? Because Activision, I feel like, has had a really bad track record in the last couple of years. Some could say a decade, but I don't really agree. But personally, I think the direction that they're heading in, it's much better than what they were doing in the Xbox One era, if we're being honest. They did absolutely nothing. They put up a fight in the beginning, and then that was it. So I'm glad that they're at least committing to the Xbox brand. I just hope that the games can actually come out, because they continuously get delayed. And that's my big beef. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Hellblade and Starfield and, whatever Obsidian is cooking up, because I really like that studio. Avowed, and I mean, they got
Outer
so many
Worlds
other,
2.
Yeah, Outer Worlds 2 and a bunch of other projects that they have. And hopefully that Perfect Dark game is good.
So they're working on that with Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah, the initiative is. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of my take on Xbox. It's all over the place.
Okay. I will go next. So
you're so smart. You know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. I am quite optimistic about Xbox's future, actually. In terms of the showcase that they had, it was the best out of the whole bunch. I think they did a phenomenal job showcasing their lineup and third-party content. I still maintain that Game Pass is a really awesome value. I like the service. I like what they're doing with Game Pass. I think Microsoft is definitely pivoting the Xbox brand in a lot of ways to where they want to be more of a digital service, more of a digital platform than a console manufacturer. Potentially. We'll see. I love my Xbox Series X. I think it's great for backwards compatibility. I really enjoy playing some of the games they have. Exclusives continue to be a problem for them, though, in terms of releasing consistent quality exclusives. Earlier this year, we had Redfall. There's no excuse for a game like that. Redfall was a complete disaster. It was a very poor effort. That game should not have been released in the state it was. It probably should have been canceled, honestly. But it is what it is. They've had a very faulty track record when it comes to releasing exclusives, but I think that they finally are getting back on the right track. I really like to see that Phil Spencer is really trying to get Japanese developers on board again. I hope he continues with that. Cross my fingers. We'll see. I think the partnership with Atlas is a good sign of that, because, we'll see how that goes. And it doesn't translate to sales for those games on Xbox. At least they're trying. I admire them for trying. Fable, hopefully that will turn out okay. The Motorsport games, Forza, continues to be a good franchise for them. The state of Halo and Gears, it's not great. Gears, I think, will hopefully be okay when Gears 6 comes out, whenever. Halo, I don't know. We could do a whole we could do an entire show about the state of Halo. That's how bad it is right now.
And I'm not even a Halo fan.
Yeah. So there's some issues at Xbox, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's as bad of a disaster as people make it out to be, though, which we'll get into.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I don't think it's as nearly as bad of a disaster as people make it out to be. They have issues, but I think that they're finally getting on the right track. Starfield, I think, is going to be a massive game. It's going to be Xbox's biggest game. It's going to be one of the biggest games of the year. Praying and hoping it delivers the experience that we all hope it is and want it to be. I think that ultimately it will. I have faith in Todd Howard and the team to hopefully deliver. I think they know how important that game is, not just for Bethesda as a company and developer, but for Xbox as a brand, how important that game is. So I think they'll make sure that it's as good as it can possibly be on launch day. Outside of that, though, looking towards the future, Hellblade 2. I'm not big into Hellblade. I tried playing the first one, just wasn't for me. Hellblade 2, though, I know some people are really excited for that, and I think it's going to be a great game for those interested. Xbox did release Hi-Fi Rush this year. Hi-Fi Rush was an extraordinary, amazing game. Loved Hi-Fi Rush. It's one of my favorite games this year, and it made me want to go buy an Xbox. That's how excited I was for that game and how much I love that game. That game to me was a system seller. So good on Xbox for that. like I said, hits and misses. I think everything, a little bit mixed, but I think they're on the right track. Talking about the acquisition aspect with Activision, I'm fine with it. I really don't care. I think that they definitely are investing in acquisitions more so. But I think it's because, again, they're looking to be a digital platform, and I think they want to increase their output and increase their reach and get more resources. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But I think it is going to be a big deal for them. Again, it's about expanding the value of Game Pass. Now, in all those Call of Duty games, all the Activision library games on Game Pass, it's going to be a big deal for them. And it's going to make Game Pass probably the best value in gaming and really drive up subscriptions. So they know what they're doing from a business perspective when it comes to that. So that's how I feel about Xbox. I'm optimistic when it comes to them. I think that Phil Spencer, he's got some issues, but I still think he's doing the best he can with the circumstances of what was given to him. And hopefully that they can iron out some of the major issues they're having, because there are some bad things at Xbox right now. But I think that the years ahead look a lot better. So anyway, now that I'm done, Meta, go ahead. How are you feeling about Xbox's releases this year and the state of the company as a whole right now?
Brace yourself. This is going to be a long one. So,
I tried going on as long as I could, guys.
Now that we've had the fun little trip down Rainbow Road, as it were, let's have a talk, guys. Let's have a sit down. Let's have a powwow. Let's have a discussion. Let's have a talk. I have a lot to say. And I say this not as an Xbox hater. I really don't. I'm very critical of both PlayStation. I'm critical of all three, Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft. Not Xbox, Microsoft. And that's going to be a big thing I'm going to get back to later. So, the future of Xbox, as both of them pointed out, as both Braille and RJ pointed out, one of the Xbox's biggest problems is their delay cycle for games. And that is because of two things. One, Xbox has a very hands-off approach when it comes to their developers, which is good because it prevents crunch, but it also is, they're too hands-off, I think, because it's like they're very passive with it. It's like, oh, we may need a few more years to develop. Oh yeah, no, take all the time you need. That's fine. I said this about PlayStation, and I said this a moment ago. At least we know that PlayStation's exclusives are going to come out. They're going to give them all the time that they need in the world, but they're going to come out eventually. They know that they will. We know that they will. We have no idea, even though they did have a good showcase. I'm not denying that. This year they had a good showcase. When are those games coming? When are they coming out? When are they releasing? We know Avowed is coming out, supposed to be coming out soon, a little bit after Starfield. We know that there is progress being made with Fable. We know there's a few other games from Compulsion Games and a few of the other studios that didn't have a game presented before. Now we know what they're working on. But again, when are these games coming out? Starfield is not only, like RJ said previously, it's a big deal for Bethesda. It is a very important deal for Microsoft. And knowing Bethesda, the game is going to be buggy at launch. It's going to be a little bit of a mess. And we as the community are just going to have to do what we've always done with Bethesda games and probably fix it ourselves. That's just the honest truth.
I don't think it's going to be that bad.
No, it's going to be that bad. And I'm going to also further by saying this.
I don't think it's going to be bad either.
Elder Scrolls 6 needs to be Todd Howard's last game.
And I
think he said as much. I genuinely think he said as much. I think he said Elder Scrolls 6 is his swan song, and then he is leaving.
But that's not for. I don't think he said that. I think what his quote was. He was trying to say that might be his last Elder Scrolls game based on the time it takes to make games.
I'm just
saying, I think he's going to make Fallout 5, and
I think that there needs to be 3 teams.
He's only what? How old
there needs to be 3 teams at Bethesda. There needs to be 1 team dedicated to Elder Scrolls, 1 dedicated to Fallout, and 1 dedicated to Starfield. Because there's going to be a sequel to this game. I don't care what anybody says. It's going to be a hit. there's going to be a sequel. So one
Well,
team for each
they said
series.
that they're going to support it for years. I don't know how that's going to work, but that's what Todd Howard was saying.
Well,
so that's going to be interesting.
Either way, it's going to be it's a very big deal for both. And I'm trying to save the acquisition talk for last because there's a lot to go into about that. And then, Lord have mercy, I followed the case. I followed it as best I could when it was at trial. Shame on the FTC for not knowing what the fuck they were talking about. They really made themselves look dumb in front of that judge, who, by the way, whose son, as I've already told them, works at Microsoft. I'm sorry, that does bother me. Like, that feels like some opinion was definitely swayed in Microsoft's favor before the trial even started. That was not an unbiased judge. She had a motive and a reason. Anyway, I do admit that their lineup of games looks great. And Phil extending the hand to third-party developers is great. Game Pass, I have pros and cons with. It is a great deal for gamers, but at the same time, I'm never good at explaining why I don't like Game Pass, because it's one of those, it's very, in-depth. It's a very in-depth analysis of what Game Pass does to gaming as a entertainment medium. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I do agree, though, that for how much it is priced, it is a good deal. Honestly, I'm going to be real with y'all all right now. How I'm going to experience Starfield is I have a free month of PC Game Pass, and I'm going to use that month to play Starfield.
Damn. I mean, I'm buying it.
I'm just saying though, man.
I gotta support them.
There's so many games coming out this year. I gotta budget somewhere, and Starfield is probably gonna be a game I wait to get on sale. But I'm at least gonna play it with PC Game Pass for the first month. But yeah, there is a lot of games coming out that I'm excited for. But again, where are they? The other thing that Microsoft's problem is, and this was a detriment to Halo Infinite, is they are under this employment contractor agreement where they hire people on for 4 or 5 months, and then because it's a contractor agreement, they have to leave because it's not even part-time. It's like a seasonal gig. So once that contract is over, they have to leave the company. They have to wait to come back after 5 months, and then they're brought back in. But that halts the development of the game, and that really, as far as the creative vision goes, stipends the creative vision. So it's just a big problem that they have. And then I'm finally going to get into the acquisition talk because I've been avoiding it. I have been more against this deal than for. I do agree there are some things I am looking forward to now that it is finalized. However, the negatives still outweigh the positives, hands down. People somehow want to forget that Xbox is connected to Microsoft, who is the biggest software company in the world. This is not some indie company. This is Microsoft. This is the people that run Windows on the computer I am talking to you right now. Windows 11. They're not a small company, and they have been known to gerrymander and lobby for laws and, for laws and things to go in their favor. They've done this. They have senators on the book that get donations from Microsoft. They have people in their pocket. I'm just telling you straight up facts at this point. So I don't understand why people ignore this.
Well, I think, the main reason is console warring. People also probably don't care too much about the politics of the corporate aspect. So I can't blame them. I could blame the console war people because I don't care for them, but I can't blame people for not really paying attention. They just care about games, and that's how it should be.
And God bless her, I love her to death. I'm not going to actually name drop her, but when you believe that a cease and desist, so for example, Call of Duty has been a very big deal about this. I personally don't give one iota of a fuck about Call of Duty. I really don't. I don't play the games like that. I know a lot of people I know do. I don't play them. But what happened recently is a modder was given a cease and desist from Activision to stop modding their games or they would sue them.
Mhm.
And this person actually believes that if Microsoft owned Activision, they could stop that cease and desist. That's
Right.
not how it works. Once it's sent out, you can't just pull it back like that. Like there's a lot of legal ramifications. Like Microsoft isn't the white knight coming in to save the day. Like that's how they're being portrayed in this.
Yeah, I agree, but I still think they'll at least clean up the company. Hopefully, I mean, I know
With
that
the
they're gonna.
hands-off approach that they have, bro, I don't think they will. I think they'll do a bit of
I
cleaning to get rid of the toxic
yeah.
environment. They'll get rid of the toxic environments, but as far as
Right.
development goes, it's going to be the same as every other game.
Well,
Like,
I think. I mean, well, we can't really say that so right now because the problem I think with Phil Spencer is that he lets teams do whatever they want, and so if a team is really good, then you have, it's going to turn out like Obsidian, where they're going to pump out good games constantly, right? And I don't think you could take that approach with Activision because they kind of ruined Blizzard, right? When that merger happened, I don't think Blizzard ever recovered creatively and business-wise. I mean, yes, they had Overwatch and a couple of successes. I mean, Diablo 4 is a success. I understand. But like creatively, I think they should probably split those two, right? It should be Blizzard. There should be Activision, and then you have King, because also people forget that King isn't also involved.
And that's
with
one
this
of the
merger.
big reasons why they actually went after Activision was the mobile front.
Right. Was the mobile stuff. So I think, yes, there's like pros and cons with this. I just want this to be over with because it's been dragged out and it takes away a lot of the discussion, in my opinion, because, I mean, especially here in Canada, I think the Canadian government doesn't agree, but it's like, what are they going to do?
Right. Okay, first off, your country was way too damn late in the discourse of like, yeah, we don't agree with this.
Well, they only brought it up because Microsoft actually lied. They said that Canada was for it, and so they actually had to clarify and said, no, we don't usually get involved with this stuff, and so that's why they made a statement.
This is something I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty about the actual case, but this is something that was a big issue with how the FTC went after Microsoft.
Right.
And RJ, did you even follow any of this trial?
No, I did.
FTC?
No, the FTC messed up. Like if they ruined all their arguments. Like they did a horrible job. Ladies and gentlemen, this was their entire argument. Is Call of Duty going to be exclusive? That was it. That was the entire argument. Well, because that's
and
what makes
it pissed me off because that is not, as someone that.
Well, you can also not to be fair. I think the only reason why they brought that up was because of Sony.
No,
Sony was the one making this thing.
Sony was the entire crux of their argument, and that's not how you do that. They, from a legal standpoint, as again, someone that took law, that knows how to do court cases for both prosecution and defense. They did not do any of that right. Like, they made Sony the entire crux of their argument. They based all of their findings off of Sony's. They did no research, no investigation of their own, it seems. They just took Sony at their word at face value, and that ended up blowing up in their face when Jim Ryan was said in, disclosed emails, we're fine with you actually purchasing it. We just want to be able to keep COD.
Right, because that makes them a lot of money. If that goes away, you're not going to get your exclusive PlayStation.
And that's why, and that's another reason why PlayStation on their front is working so hard with. They purchased Bungie because they want to help make online games like Destiny. So if they ever do never sign that extension contract with Microsoft again for COD, they have something that could hopefully be big enough to replace it.
Possibly. I mean, we don't. I mean, they're going to future proof, but I think people have to understand that Call of Duty is an anomaly. It's not going to be replicated, or it's if there's something,
you can't just make a new Call of Duty out of nowhere.
Yeah, people. I mean, this franchise has been going on for almost 20 years now. Come on, it's not been replicated. The
game is bigger than the last.
Yeah,
for the most part. They're already working on Modern Warfare 3.
Sony bought Bungie because they want to get into the free
games as a service.
Games as a service, right? And I don't really think it has much to do with this because remember, those two deals were announced very close, like 1 month after the other. So, and you have to remember, these mergers take months, years to like negotiate and talk about. And that's why it's never leaked, right? It's usually behind the scenes, very closed doors. So they were going to plan to buy Bungie long before we even knew about the Activision deal, or they would have known about the Activision deal, right? Unless they have some insider information. But so I don't really think that's the reason why they bought Bungie, personally.
Well, I'm just saying though, like, I am I'm just saying, like, they Bungie is helping them though with all aspects of their online multiplayer games. Like that, they're the reason why we found out about the Last of Us game, like in the shape that it's in, is because they did that. Like they were like, hey, this game's taking way too long. What's going on? Like we found found out about that through Bungie, like going after Naughty Dog, being like, this is taking way too damn long. Y'all need.
Well, they were more critical about the gameplay loop, not so much that it was taking long. I think it took long because now they got Bungie and Bungie assessed it, and Bungie was like, this is not gonna last, right?
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, and even then, like I don't care about COD. What I have been concerned about is the vast library that Microsoft now has the keys to, because it is as big as Disney's. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. Activision is one of the oldest game developers in the world. They were making games on the Atari 2600. They have access to literal bukus of IPs now.
Which,
old
to
and
be
new.
fair,
And
the
so
owners
I
of Activision
worry,
weren't
especially
really using now.
Yeah, that's just another two. Yeah.
About things like what just happened? Hold on.
I think Meta got hit with the Microsoft cease and desist order.
Yeah.
Want to silence
Phil
him.
Spencer came up to him and put a bag over his head.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna throttle your internet so you're like lagging super behind. That way you can't make any points.
Oh boy. But I guess yeah, you want to continue where he
Yeah,
left off?
no, yeah, I can. For me at least, like I think the FTC definitely messed up. I don't think they presented the argument in a good way whatsoever. When it comes to Activision's library, though, just to piggyback off of that, yes, they have a very robust library.
Yes.
Issue is though is that they never used it. I mean, did they ever do anything with King's Quest outside of like that one game? Did they ever do much with like any of their stuff older than like the 90s, even 2000s?
Yeah, not really. I mean, they did have. I think one time they re-released a bunch of their Atari games.
But that's
that
really
was like
it.
the 2000s.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like they just don't utilize it at all. They are just like, yep, Call of Duty, Blizzard stuff. That's about it. You know, they don't really focus on anything else, regarding their other types of content. You know, so I think that's kind of where the issues really lie. Is just the fact that they never utilize that stuff. I mean, look how long it took to get Crash Bandicoot off the ground again. It took a while. It took like a remake that Sony kind of commissioned or sort of like helped out with to sort of like get the ball rolling again on. And that sold so well. They're like, oh, we should make a Spyro one. Let's make an actual Crash Bandicoot 4. Like,
hopefully they're making Spyro 4.
That's what you hope at least, but then Toys for Bob got kind of roped into the Call of Duty stuff and some other things because he needed help.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
So I don't know. That was concerning. You know.
I mean, I mean, overall, I think a lot of people are divided by this merger because it's so big and so large, and it is going to have an impact. But at the same time, it's like it can go either way, and I'm kind of more like maybe we should see what happens, and then if they're doing terrible things or whatever, I don't know how that legal process would work, but then I mean obviously they have to agree with a lot of these government entities, right? The CMA and I don't know too much about the FTC. It seems like they're hands off, but
I mean, one of the positive things I think that could come from this is like preserving the old Call of Duty games, because they've been a mess with the online. They've been horrible. Just in terms of trying to preserve that and just keep it from like being a gigantic mess of hackers and bots and everything else. Like, it is horrible. You cannot, like, they don't even function anymore.
Well, I mean, that's actually a good point to think about. Is that Microsoft had to stop their that program, when they were trying to like up-res games and put them on the store.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. What was that project called? It's been a while now. I completely forget.
I honestly don't remember.
But
But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
it was like boost, like boost modes, like games would get a better frame rate and resolution. I mean, they could do that with Activision games now, right? And that might be incentivized for them, right? And the thing is, too, I never really understood why they would take off Call of Duty from PlayStation, because Xbox is kind of the third dog of
It
the
makes too
three.
much money.
Yeah, it makes way too much money. And so I think, to be honest, the biggest problem was the cloud gaming, because they have such a big market in that, right? And Microsoft is obviously outside of gaming, they're doing a lot with cloud
Well, the issue is too is
servers
that
and
it's
stuff.
such an unknown field. It's such an
Right.
unknown field of like what it's going to be and what it's going to become. That
Mhm.
I mean, look what's going on in Hollywood right now with the strikes.
Right.
Like one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue, is AI. Simply
Mhm.
because they're fighting for like what they
Residuals
perceive
in
as like what
AI.
they
Yeah.
think. Yeah, because like they're fighting for like, okay, we can't predict the future, but we got to set something in place now so we're protected like 5 to 10 years from now. That's the
Right.
same kind of thing with the
That's a
cloud
good
gaming
point.
stuff. Like, we don't know where it's going to go in the next like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
So
understandable from their perspective. Um, but yeah, I think that is a good point. I mean, it's always negative around this stuff. That's my problem with the discussion. It's like, I understand what is going on. I'm not like totally in favor of these giant mergers, but at the same time, I kind of don't like what Activision's been doing. So like maybe someone should just buy them up.
well,
Um,
Blizzard's a
yeah,
mess. Blizzard, especially right now, is just oh my
yeah,
god, like the state of like just the state of Blizzard in general with Overwatch. I mean, they just had Diablo 4, and that was a massive success, of course.
right,
But God, they killed freaking Overwatch. I mean,
yeah,
like that whole debacle with Overwatch 2 was just, oh my, it was just so
yeah.
disappointing and
So
just very. I was not a fan. Not a fan
well,
of how they handled that.
also I wanted to ask you, like, because in the future it does seem like Microsoft isn't totally hot about a console. Like, I mean, we know that there's a rumor going around that the PS5 Pro may be an actual thing, but Microsoft had already said that they don't have any intentions of making a Xbox Series XX,
Well, because
right?
they can't
Like a
support
pro
it.
console.
They can't
Right.
support it because the sales of the Series X and Series S sales is so cheap. But Series
Mhm.
X, like the main console, it's not moving like units like crazy. I mean, it's not doing
Right.
horrible, but it's not, it's not really blowing up the way I think they want to, right?
Right,
So
right.
that's an issue too, where they're trying to push hardware a little bit, but
Mhm.
they kind of can't. So I think at this point they're focusing more on software and subscriptions. That's why their business model shifted. That's why
Right.
Phil Spencer lost the console war probably forever with the Xbox One launch. You
Mhm.
can't recover
Which
from
isn't
that.
his fault. He wasn't even in power when that
No,
happened.
it was Don Matrick. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I think I'm good.
All
Okay,
right.
you're back. Yeah.
Yes. Where I didn't hear a single, unfortunately, had some technical issues. I didn't hear a single thing y'all were talking about. I did jump in when you were talking about the Xbox One. And
It's okay. Phil Spencer doesn't want you to
Yeah.
speak anymore.
No, man.
wait,
He was
Uh,
wait, what?
Phil
he
Spencer
was
just he came in. He's just like, we're throttling your internet. It's on all on Windows anyway. Bill
no,
Gates is
man.
like, this
Listen,
is it.
I'm sorry if I speak too much truth for them to handle.
No, man. Oh, man.
No, but we were talking
Where did I
about
even
like
leave off at? Oh yeah, I was saying I don't even care about Call of Duty. I care about the library. More specifically, I care about Crash and Spyro. Those are
Right.
two PlayStation icons that are now owned by the
but now
enemy.
they can be icons for everyone.
No,
Mm-mm.
You got to
I
learn to
want
share your
very
Spyro.
well.
toys.
No. Okay, let's talk about that because Braille mentioned this a while back that there was a rumor, and I want to talk about that rumor, please, Braille, if you don't mind. You know the rumor I'm talking about, right?
Uh, no. What is this rumor? You're gonna have to
PlayStation
refresh my
signed
memory.
that agreement for Call of Duty.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. This was a rumor. So supposedly, to sign the deal, the 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, uh, PlayStation traded uh Call of Duty for the rest of Activision's library and titles. So that means we're not going to get Crash or Spyro on PlayStation as a result.
So they trade. So basically, like, please let us keep Call of Duty. You can have the rest.
Yes.
Basically.
For
No
I think
more Tony
5
Hawk.
years. Yes.
No more Tony Hawk. No more Crash. No more Spyro. No more anything.
Yeah. That's business for you. They're gonna sell.
And
that's the rumor.
No. If it turns out to be true, because this is the thing, this is how I would have worded the FTC's argument, because they were making a big deal about exclusives, and they brought up Bethesda, and on record, Microsoft and Phil had said, existing IPs we will not make exclusive. New IPs, we will have the option to make exclusive, which for the most part they have, like Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield. Now, what I would have asked is, so with you saying that on the record, does that mean that Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 will be multi-platform? That's how I would have asked that question. Instead of just repeating Call of Duty, ask, are those games going to be exclusive? Is Spyro 4 coming out going to be an exclusive? Is Crash 5 going to be an exclusive? Like, talk about other IPs that matter besides just Call of Duty. I mean, it is the same question to an extent.
StarCraft and
StarCraft, like
Warcraft,
all because Activision again has one of the largest IP pools in the history of gaming.
Well, think about this though. That could maybe we were talking about this before. Yeah, your technical issues, Meta, but like Blizzard needs a lot of fixing. Blizzard is like such in a bad state right now.
Oh. Wait a few minutes and try.
I'm sorry about that. My Google mess.
Fun as hell to edit, ain't it?
Google was like, "We're talking about Blizzard." No, don't talk bad about Blizzard.
Don't talk about my bay like that.
Okay, it's done now. It's my Google speaker. That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's like, who's that random AI woman talking? What?
Oh my god. I jumped out of my seat. I was like, what the
dangers of AI.
That's staying in the edit.
Oh my god.
But no,
it's supposed to be off. It's supposed to be off. That's why I got fucking scared. I was like, what the
But again though, like, I agree. A lot of the culture at Activision Blizzard is going to change. Bobby Kotick is unfortunately going to be receiving a golden parachute, and he's going to be out. I do think a lot of the toxic culture is going to change. We're probably going to see a lot of firing, or hey, you better get with the program or you're going to be out at Activision and Blizzard. And I do think that them being separate companies is a good thing. I do. We're going to have to wait and see now until, because I think it's going to be, unless Microsoft pulls another Microsoft like they did with Hi-Fi Rush or Outer Worlds 1, and they take the country, we're going to wait until Spyro 4 or Elder Scrolls 6 really is the big one. If Elder Scrolls 6 is exclusive, then Microsoft has lied. And Xbox has
not really, because like
yes, they have.
The only thing they've really promised is like not removing Call of Duty.
No. On the record for the Bethesda deal.
Bethesda deal. Well,
for the Bethesda deal, they said we are not going to split fandoms apart for existing IPs. Okay, even though Indiana Jones has its own IP fandom, game-wise, you can make.
Yeah, but you could argue they did the same with Spider-Man, though.
Yeah,
but But the difference is Marvel approached Xbox to make a Spider-Man game exclusive, and they said no.
But it's still the same concept, though. You're making an exclusive that's removing it. Like, what about Spider-Man?
But they gave them the option. Same thing with KOTOR. They gave them the option to make KOTOR an exclusive, and Microsoft said no because they could not make it in-house.
Right. I mean, yeah, if we got a Spider-Man game from Xbox, it wasn't going to be with Insomniac.
Now,
so I guess that's kind of...
Now, at the time, Insomniac was a third party, but either way. Now, what is interesting that Microsoft can do, because they own Activision now, and I'm going to get into the hopeful stuff, the stuff that I do hope happens, because I've talked enough about the negative. Just want to make it one last time clear. The reason I was against this deal was not because I'm anti-Xbox. I'm anti-monopoly. Monopolies are never good for the free market. They're never good for the consumer. The consumer always loses. And that's just a fact. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read a history book. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, on that note, let's talk about the stuff I am hopeful for with Microsoft and Activision now. I hope that because Microsoft does let their studios make whatever the hell they want, I'll do it with the Thanos meme. If Rare ain't gonna make a new Banjo game, Toys for Bob definitely could. They'll do it themselves.
Yeah, it'll leave some opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Like, it gives opportunity for neglected franchises and IPs to finally get something done, and done well. That is potential benefits.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I hope that Crash and Spyro stay multi-plat. I hope that deal with PlayStation isn't true. And if it is, you're gonna see me. I'll say this: if that deal is true, it may be on my personal channel, but I'm going to make a rant about that. And you're going to see this PlayStation fanboy absolutely get pissed off and flame Sony. Because they are absolutely ignoring their history with Activision as to why they became successful in the first place. Activision played a huge role in PlayStation being successful. But I'll get into that, and Spyro and Crash specifically, but I'll get to that if that deal actually is true. But if it's not true, which I hope it isn't, I want Spyro 4 to come out, be a success. I want Crash 5 to come out, be a success. I do hope that, again, Banjo and Conquer and the Rare IPs that Rare refuses to touch now for some reason are explored. And I hope to God they allow Vicarious Visions to not be a support studio for which one, what Treyarch or whatever, and they can go back, and if they say, hey, we want to make the Tony Hawk 3+4 remake, please do that. Please do, because those are the two fun games.
Oh man, I like the first two games, but
3 and 4, in my opinion, the open world aspect is so not the open world, but like the more open world aspect was just better. Plus, there's no timer. That timer really infuriated me. I hate the damn timer. Fuck that. Let me explore, damn it. Let me skateboard like a real skater. But also, what they could do is they could approach Marvel and say, hey, we want to because this was supposed to happen, but then Activision's management got cocky. They were going to remaster and put on PS4 Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions.
Right.
Now Microsoft can do that. They can make those ports happen. They can remaster the Spider-Man games.
Well, if Marvel allows them, though.
If Marvel, and I think Marvel, because it's now in-house, Xbox will be agreeable to like, hey, let us remaster and remake some of these games, like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. All that they have, that's the thing. While Insomniac does have one of the best versions of Spider-Man out there, and Activision made Spider-Man games for a decade, for a literal decade. So, like, they have access to a decade's worth of Spider-Man games they can remaster, re-release.
How would that work, though? Wouldn't they have to work with Marvel to remaster those games?
But that's what I was saying earlier, RJ. They didn't want to work with Lucasfilm and Marvel because they wanted the games to be made in-house. But now Activision is in-house. So I'm saying they'd be more open to working with them because it's now an in-house project.
Yeah, that could be something good to come out of that.
And honestly, I would love a remake, and I know that I am pie in the skying the hell. I'm telling you, I'm huffing all the hopium. Remake Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the PS1. Please! Those games are gems and a cornerstone of 3D Spider-Man games. Please remake the first game, especially. God! I have a lot of hope. That's what I'm saying. I do have a lot of hope, but the negatives just outweigh the positives for me when it comes to Microsoft and this deal.
Yeah, I mean, you're entitled to feel that way. I understand. I mean, again, it's one of those things where you hope it ends up doing good. You hope it ends up being for the best and being ultimately good for the consumer. But I do think you're going to start seeing a lot more acquisitions in response to this, and consolidation of the game industry is kind of a scary thought. I do think you're going to see people like Amazon and Apple start buying stuff up too and get into this space as well.
I mean, Tencent just bought that one developer, like we mentioned, in between the breaks and all that. Like, Tencent bought the company that did the original Dying Light.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mentioned this in the PlayStation aspect, but I do think that PlayStation is going to try to make an acquisition not as big as Activision, but one that's just like equally big. So
Most likely Square Enix.
either Square Enix, or I'm sorry, man, I could see them buying Take-Two.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Square Enix would be devastating because all the Square Enix games that were coming to Switch, they're all going to just disappear.
Yeah,
They're
so
just
that's
gonna
why,
make
like,
Final
but here's the thing, though,
Fantasy.
RJ. Here's the thing: if they want something to counteract COD staying on PlayStation, GTA will do it. You want GTA to remain multi-platform too. So, and GTA 6 especially, oh my god, could you imagine we're getting close to GTA 6 reveal, and out of nowhere, we're excited to announce that we are now part of the PlayStation brand.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
The amount of money that Sony would make from GTA 6 if they purchased Take-Two alone would justify the purchase.
Can Sony even
They
afford
can.
that though?
They
Because
can.
like
They
I
can.
would argue that GTA is a brand within itself within Take like
so
That's another Call of Duty.
Because here's the thing, Take-Two is not just GTA. Think about this too.
It's 2K.
It's 2K. It's the sports
Yes.
games, and those make a
sports games.
lot of money too.
So let me explain why I think this could work. And I'm not for this either, but if it happens, I'm not going to be surprised because it could work. So first off, Sony's president, not PlayStation president, Sony's president has stated, damn music keeps going away, has stated they are going to redistribute some funds, some money in the company for more acquisitions in gaming. They're committed to making, they know that PlayStation is their most profitable brand. They are committed to making it stay their most profitable brand. Right? So there's that. Then you also have onto the fact that PlayStation already makes the MLB games, and they finally made those multi-platform. They're making a lot of money off of MLB staying multi-platform. So them having basketball and wrestling and all the other sport games be multi-plat, that would add to their benefit. And then of course, like I said, there's GTA in and of itself would make that investment worth it because it would make its money back tenfold. Because that game is going to sell like insane numbers. I think Take-Two, they definitely could afford Take-Two. It's just not going to be for the same like astronomical price that because Microsoft overspent on Activision to make sure that they got it. And also, that's Microsoft money. Microsoft money is in the billions of dollars anyway. Or actually trillions, really. But yeah. So a Take-Two acquisition could very well be possible. A lot of these companies could be in talks right now to be acquired. I honestly think, and I would absolutely see this being a dick move by PlayStation, because PlayStation likes to make dick moves sometimes. They could purchase Sega. I'm not saying I want that.
Microsoft almost purchased Sega.
Microsoft,
and that was a terrifying. That was terrifying.
Absolutely
terrifying.
I still think there's a chance Microsoft could buy a Japanese company.
I don't. But that's the thing, though. Aside from Atlas, like, there's a reason why Square Enix does not want their games on Xbox. That's
RJ. I was gonna say, Sega is technically founded in the U.S., so they could actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a loophole there.
Wait, no. Sega was a Japanese company. There's Sega of America.
No, Sega actually has roots in U.S. before they went to Japan. So there's actually an in for them to buy it. But also too, Microsoft owns a Japanese studio, so I don't know if that's going to make a difference too. But
what's the Japanese studio they own?
Tango Works.
Tango Gameworks by ZeniMax.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who really knows? I mean, if I had to prefer, I could kind of see Microsoft still buying Sega. I think it actually makes a lot more sense than Sony. At this rate, to be honest, I prefer if Sony buys more smaller studios, like studios where not publishers, right? Like Remedy would be good,
or Insomniac, like actual.
Well, Insomniac isn't like a small fish; they were a pretty medium-sized fish.
But they were independent, right? They're
They're independent, yeah.
But in my opinion, though, like Insomniac is probably one of the most well-known third-party developers for PlayStation before they bought them. So it just makes sense to buy them. And honestly,
I mean, if PlayStation bought From Software or Remedy or CD Projekt Red, I really wouldn't mind those purchases. I think those actually make a lot more sense than buying up Capcom or Square Enix or even.
Well, you've been
Take
saying
Two.
that they need to tackle the Western RPG front, but Sony really just makes a lot more money from JRPGs than Western ones.
I mean, both Cyberpunk and The Witcher made a lot of money, so.
Oh, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, like, Sony's model, like, they've always favored JRPGs because they're a Japanese company, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, at this rate, what is PlayStation? PlayStation really doesn't care about the Japanese audience, it feels like. It's like,
I'm
I
just
feel
saying,
like
They
even
shut
Japan
down their
too.
entire Japan studio division.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, like, they're also investing in, like, again, like in small companies in Korea and Africa and all that stuff. They're not buying them; they're just making investments into them. And Microsoft could very well be doing the same. But all I know is that it is very possible for them to buy Take-Two to counteract the Activision purchase. They signed the Call of Duty deal for now, but again, like one of the big things that I thought was so funny about the trial is that Microsoft was like, yeah, we were in the middle of talking with the developer, and then Sony would come in with a bunch of money and outdo us. And that made us feel some type of way. And it's like, that's called business. That's called competition. That's called like actually doing your job and being competitive. I don't understand why you're bitching. I really don't.
Well,
Mm.
I think that the market's definitely evolving. So I'll have to wait and see. But I think this might be a good place to kind of start wrapping things up for the very first episode of Controller Chronicles. What an episode it was, man. Had a nice, like, lengthy conversation about the state of the industry a little bit. Kind of talked a little bit about where things are at.
Yeah, the state of the big three. There's a lot of other stuff like with Ubisoft and
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
third-party
yeah.
publishers and everything. Yeah.
like a CD Projekt Red, like Braille mentioned, like they got a lot of things cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's exciting stuff in the horizon for sure. Absolutely. So yeah, I think that'll do it for the first episode of Controller Chronicles. Next episode, we'll be discussing some topics for the next episode. Might cover some more gaming news. Plus, Meta had a really interesting topic that you wanted to cover as well. That I think would make for a great episode as well.
Yes.
Mm.
So I guess now that we're kind of like winding things out, should we tell the folks where they could find us or what to do? Meta, what do you think?
Absolutely. Let's do it. RJ, since you have been the host, for this one,
So I will
let you
open
go
this up by
first.
saying make sure to subscribe to the Controller Chronicles YouTube channel and make sure you hit that like button and make sure that you follow us wherever you're listening to this at, because we appreciate that as we grow this new endeavor. As for me and my personal activities online, you can find me at Resident Justice on Twitter, on YouTube, I think Twitch as well, and I'm on Threads as Resident Justice as well. Just to name a few. You look up the you'll find me on a bunch of different places. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And again, we thank you for listening and enjoying this very first episode, and we hope that you continue to enjoy and support the show.
All right. I'm gonna let Braille on the screen next.
Yeah, you can find me at Blinded Braille on Threads because I hate Twitter. Or X. X, as it's referred to now.
He just letting it be known.
I forgot about X. I was gonna make a joke, but we could do a whole episode about Elon, honestly.
I don't want.
Oh yeah, I would love to
I do
expose
not
his
want
ass.
to do that.
Yeah, the guy's a fraud. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
Sorry,
man.
Elon Simps. Sorry.
You mean the crypto bros?
It's a lot of bros. The ex bros. That's what they should be
Is
called.
that- oh my god!
Yeah.
Is that it, Braille? Just blinded Braille on Threads.
Yeah. I go there. Yeah, I talk about movies and games there. So
He's more comfortable going off on a rant about Elon.
yeah. I can't stand Elon, man. Can't stand him.
I'm dead. I'm so dead, dude.
I feel bad for him, but at the same
I
time,
don't.
if you know his upbringing, I feel bad for him. I really do. But I understand why he is what he is now. It's unfortunate.
All right, well, on that lovely note, I guess I'll go next, RJ.
Wait, you're blinded to say where he was from? I got so lost in the Elon thing.
Oh man.
Don't you have a YouTube channel or anything else?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Blinded Braille. Thank you, RJ. Yeah, Blinded Braille on YouTube. I might have to start posting videos, maybe shorts or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
This is why I love Braille.
Sidetracked.
He got so lost in the Elon rant, he forgot to plug his stuff.
Thanks to RJ.
Oh my god!
That's what I'm here for. He'll remind us.
Oh. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay. On that note, I guess I'll go plug my stuff now. Okay. Yeah, I want to thank you all for joining us. This has been a great first episode. And you can find me on YouTube at Friendly Neighborhood. Just look up Friendly Neighborhood Meta. I am also on X at the most meta, and I am on Threads. Just look up friendly_neighborhood_meta. That's also for my Instagram as well. And yeah, you can also, I'm still working on it, but I also do have a streaming channel. I'll leave a link for that in the description as well. Again, at the time of this recording, I should be playing Spider-Man Remastered. So yeah, hope y'all will join me for that one.
Nice. Sorry. I hit the
RG,
mute button way too late.
You gonna send us off, pal?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was like, I thought the button was already hit. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, awkward ending aside, thank y'all so much for watching once again. We really appreciate you. We have no outro or any like special catchphrase yet. This is just episode 1. We'll figure it out as we go on. Growing pains. But thank y'all for watching so much and listening. Make sure to hit that follow and subscribe button, all that good stuff. Like button too. All the buttons. You know, just tickle the buttons. And game on, folks. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Peace out.